Hey everyone, welcome to the 5th devlog for Border Wars, an RTS game that I'm developing for mobile. And once again, what happened here? And once again, the look of the game has changed, and the reason for that is the battlefield was too small. I know this is in a way opposite to what I decided and discussed in the previous devlog, where I wanted the battlefield, since this is targeting mobile, I wanted the battlefield to be, the entire battlefield to be viewable on a single screen, so as to increase gameplay speed and reduce the amount of time taken by units to travel to the other side. But it was working in its current state, where the units I have, with the short range units I had, but as I was adding more units to the game, such as long range weapons, artillery fire, sniper, tanks, vehicles, I was having the problem of setting their speed or either them reaching the other side too quickly. And it was making for short games. I mean, if I'm having just 2 units, a couple units, it would work, but I plan on adding quite a lot of more units, and for that I needed this larger map. So that's that. Another change I made is, obviously because of this large map, the camera controls that I trashed or dumped last time are back in. But this time it's much simpler. Rather than zoom and pinch and rotate, the camera is restricted to a single axis, and you can only, when the user taps on the screen and it's not on the UI, you can drag the screen or drag the camera to the left and right. Now this is working so far. I'm happy with how it's playing out. I'm happy with it working with new units as well, and yeah, that's the new look and the new size of the battleground. Another change I made is I added this artillery power up. Now it is for just such occasions when you feel overwhelmed. Drag this in, and there we go. Artillery will be fired, and it will give you much needed support in such situations. Now I added some nice sound to that as well. I hope I can capture it in the next one as the cooldown finishes. Unmute audio. Yeah, so that's the artillery power up. That's the current look of it, and yeah, that's what I wanted to discuss regarding these two changes. One thing that I seriously underestimated when deciding to make an RTS game was the time it would take to balance this game. Majority of my time this past week was taken by balancing units and balancing currency and making sure that no unit is overpowered, or in general it's at least a fun experience to play. And as part of that, I've changed how currency is added, or currency or resources are rewarded to the player. Now players are rewarded resources based on enemy units killed, but there's also a larger increment, or the speed with which the resources are incremented. I've increased that, and along with that I've set an upper limit, as can be seen where I've set an upper limit to the total number of resources that a player can gather. This is accompanied by this small little button to the bottom right of the screen, and what this does is currently when the game starts, players will start with 0, and the resources will start getting incremented. But at the very early stage of the game, players will be given an option if they either immediately want to deploy units, or they want to invest in this increasing the upper cap of their currency. Now if they do that, it'll make the later game easier, because after clicking this, the speed with which the resource increment speed increases, and the upper limit also changes, so allowing players to add more units onto the battlefield and to easily deploy more expensive units as well. While on the topic of game balancing, I've added a no deploy zone to the enemy side of the battlefield, which is simply a mesh renderer, with a collider on top. Now the purpose of this is to prevent players from spamming units right on top of the enemy base. Now once you travel the distance and cover this distance and reach the enemy base, you could previously just keep spamming units on top of this position and in a way overpower the enemy quite easily. Now this kind of made the game quite easy to play. It kind of wasn't fair to the enemy, who had to run all the way to the other side, and it also kind of defeated the purpose of having this large battleground. So the no deploy zone is invisible while normal gameplay, but as soon as you want to deploy a unit, it enables and it prevents you from deploying a unit there. So if I release my mouse while on top of the no deploy zone, a message will be shown, you cannot deploy here, and obviously the unit does not deploy. Now, this is achieved like I mentioned using a mesh renderer, and it's quite simple. In code, it's while in the onDragEnd function, it just raycast checks the tag of the game object, and if it is on the no deploy zone, it does just displays this message. Otherwise, a unit is deployed. Now, just for demonstration, I'll show what it was previously. Let's put this here. So without this no deploy zone, we could just oops, that's an error. I think I have to disable it after the manager finds it. Yep. So I could just deploy units right on top and have the entire battle here, and this is just wasted space. And lastly, I want to talk about the projection mode of the camera. And that's something which is really important in an RTS game, because setting the right projection for your game can in a way define its look. Now currently it's set at perspective projection, and the benefit of this mode is that it gives this additional depth to the camera. For example, if we focus just on the tower in the game window, and this mode allows me to view the inside the tower as well. So later on in the game, I can add a unit inside the tower that can fire from there, and it would all be visible. Now that's a benefit. It gives this nice depth-wise look, and that's what the current setting is at. On the other hand, we have the orthographic projection mode. I'll change these settings during game so that I don't lose my current settings. Now with orthographic mode, you get this nice top-down classic look, which I love really well, which I also really like. Now if I bring the rotation a bit down, and to be honest, I like this look, and I don't know which one to go for. It can be so I would appreciate it if the viewers can comment and mention which mode they prefer, which one they like more. Is it the orthographic projection mode or the perspective projection? And that would make my decision much easier. And I think that's everything for this devlog. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you like what I'm doing and if you like what I'm working on, please like this video and subscribe for future content as well. Thanks.